Hello everyone, it's 204 Underground, and I'm back with another installment of Dubstep Theory, and this time what I'm going to be doing is discussing how to use effects in your songs to make them sound more filled out and more professional. This again was a request, so thanks for that. So a while back I was starting to get good at music production and mixing, but for some reason I couldn't figure out why my songs weren't quite sounding as good as some of the pro tracks that I was hearing. It felt like there was just something missing from the tracks that I really couldn't hear. And maybe you're having this same problem with your songs right now. The mixing and production is great and it's sounding really good, but for some reason it feels like there's just something missing. Well, eventually I found out that this something that I really wasn't hearing was the use of effects samples. So today I'm going to be showing you how I used effects in one of my remixes, which sounds like this. It might sound familiar because that's also the song that I used in my last installment of Dubstep Theory when I discussed using simple synth sounds. So when I use the word effect samples, what I mean is swooshes, reverses, hits, impacts, basically the non-melodic elements that you hear in the song. And they're extremely important because not only will they help fill out your drop, but they'll also help transition between all the different important parts of your song, thus making it sound more professional. So the first step is to get some good effects samples. So most sample packs have an effects section. So some sample packs I'd recommend if you don't have a good one would be the Prime Loops Razor Effects sample pack. Has tons of great effects samples and I've had it for several years and it's still great, and I actually used quite a bit of the effects in this song from that pack. I'd also recommend any of the Vengeance packs. I just recently got the Essential Dubstep one, and it is just absolutely incredible and has tons of great effects and drum samples. If you're looking for something cheaper, then you can try the Computer Music Sample Packs. You can now buy a digital version of the magazine on Apple's newsstand, or Zeno as I believe it's called, for about $5 or so. So then they give you the information to download the samples. And don't worry, I wasn't paid or anything to promote these sample packs, I just like them. Now with that out of the way, let's go ahead and look at how I use the samples in this drop. So if we look at the first sample section, we have this bass drop sample, which sounds like this. And I use this sample at the end of sections to help transition. For example, right here in this outro, right here in this breakdown, right here in the breakdown, this drop, this sort of intro section, and this breakdown build section. And I also used it, as you can see in the drop right here, if we move back, I used it to accent certain sections where there's just these little synth sample effects that I had from the original to give them a little more bass because they were just lead sounds. Next, I have a ton of reverses, as you can see right here. So let me go ahead and just play a couple of these for you. And then we have this crash sort of sample. We have a white noise sort of swishy sample. And then let's go ahead and just move on to this big reverby clap sample that I made. Most of these I've also time stretched to make them in time with the section to fit with whatever we were doing, either if it was a build or just a short breakdown. As you may have noticed, I have many different types of reverby swooshes and reverses, and that'll help fill out the track and also add some variety so that you don't have the same swoosh just keep repeating all the time. I've also layered all of them together every single time something changes to accent the certain sections, which if we zoom out again, you can see for here, this outro breakdown, this drop, this build, this breakdown, this movie score breakdown section, this drop, and then all this build section. I also use them to accent little things, as you can see with this bass drop right here. Next, I have these really short effect samples that sound like this. And this is the final thing that I did. I just took the end of the reverb tail of like an effects impact or an atmosphere or whatever and made these small hits that I just showed you. And if I was going to do this on a sample, let me go ahead and just do it on this clap. So if I copied the clap over, I would shorten it down. I want to get this little atmosphere here at the end. So it would be like this. And then I would just duplicate that over. And that would sound like this. And then just to quickly, you'd add some reverb and then just high pass the sound to remove all the bass frequencies just to get that white noise sound that it gives. And then next, if we go ahead and look at some of these effect samples, I have these two that are rather similar, and then this really short one right here. So if you look at these ones in the mixer, if I can find it here. Here we go. If you look at them in the mixer, I have one pan left and one pan right. These two samples are almost identical, just to give a little bit of stereo width and to help widen out the drop a little bit. While we're in the mixer, I'd like to note that the samples should barely be heard when the drop is playing, because it's just an atmosphere, not a melodic element that you're trying to make a jump out of the track or anything. So just when you're doing this, just make sure the level isn't too high, and you can do that by adjusting the level of the samples when the drop is playing back. That's pretty much all I have for today on effects. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to comment and send me a message on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, or whatever. And just keep all the requests coming. I've gotten several requests over the past week, which has been great, and I've started to work through those and just go ahead and get those videos written and produced. So also, if you guys have any mixing questions or just have a track and you just can't get something to sound right for some reason, just go ahead and send me one of your tracks on SoundCloud. I'd love to hear it, and I'd love to help you guys out. And as always, like, comment, and subscribe if you like this video to help me out. Thanks again, guys, and 204 Underground out.